Kawhi Leonard thinks he's got us fooled, but people see right through it. Jake Fisher dropped a huge report saying if Kawhi was to leave the Clippers, there are 2 teams he'd want to re-sign with. Well, Leonard's clear first choice is stay with the Clippers, but when it comes to potential trade talks, there are only 2 other teams that Leonard would consider signing an extension with: Toronto and San Antonio. What? Oh, and he'd say no to re-signing with Detroit and Miami. How does this make any sense? Kawhi's breakup with the Spurs so bad, Coach Pop had to bark at the fans to stop booing.
Pop's on the mic.
Stop all the booing and let these guys play. It's got no class. It's not who we are. Knock off the booing.
So something's not adding up. Well, a fan named Quan points out, Kawhi's just using the Spurs for leverage. He would never come back to San Antonio, and San Antonio wouldn't want him back. That dude is a snake. Don't be fooled by him again. Aha! And it turns out Kawhi's on the last year of his contract. Just had an amazing season at age 35, just in time for a payday. But Chris Haynes says, I was told that after the season, at some point, Kawhi Leonard and the Clippers would get together to begin discussing an extension, but I recently was told those conversations haven't even happened. What? So this interest is fake. Kawhi is using San Antonio and Toronto to squeeze cash from LA. Makes perfect sense. Except, why would he leave Detroit and Miami out of it if this was about leverage? The Pistons are desperate to get a star. They just lost out on Austin Reeves and LaMelo Ball next to Cade Cunningham. And Miami just got Giannis. Why would he not sign an extension there? Because the smoke is real. There's no other explanation for it. If it was all about leverage, include Detroit and Miami. No, the mystery here is Clippers owner Steve Ballmer. He is the one playing games. But my son just had a birthday. Man, that gets expensive. Between the party, a gift, cash can be tight, and we have all had those times in our life where something comes up. An unexpected or sometimes expected expense. It happens all the time, which is why today's sponsor Clover is awesome. It's a financial app designed to give people faster, smarter access to their money. Clover is not a payday loan. You can get up to $400 from your paycheck in advance for whatever, unexpected car repair, groceries, rent, anything. But the difference is Clover doesn't have any interest. No credit check, no late fees ever. Then how do they make money? Good question. Clover makes money through partnerships they have with outside brands that they promote in the app, as well as instant advance fees. See, you can either wait a few days to get your cash advance or pay a small fee for it to get deposited instantly. And unlike other apps, there's no monthly membership fee required to get in advance. So if you need a little extra cash, with Clover, you can access up to $400, no credit check, no late fees. Just click on the link in the description to sign up and let them know AM Hoops sent you. So LA just pulled off a miracle rebuild after the disastrous Paul George trade. Without having any picks, they somehow moved on from PG, traded James Harden and Ivica Zubac for youth, and just picked their point guard of the future at number 5 in the draft. Only thing left to do is trade Kawhi at his peak value after a productive, healthy season. It's the Hornets playbook with LaMelo. A no-brainer. But for some reason, Ballmer vetoed his own front office in a deal. A report said multiple NBA sources indicate the Warriors were close to a deal with Kawhi Leonard at the deadline before the Clippers pulled out, and ESPN says it was Ballmer. What's going on? Well, there are 3 possible explanations for this. Number 1, he's obsessed with Kawhi, which I guess is a possibility. But 2, the aspiration punishment. Did Adam Silver say not to trade Kawhi until this gets resolved? Could any trade that they do make get rescinded if his contract gets voided? Can you imagine LA trades Kawhi for like De'Aaron Fox? Then they have to cancel the trade months later? That would be a disaster. But if that was true, why would they keep it a secret, right? Like, how could the Clips almost trade Kawhi to the Warriors at the deadline? They would know this. So the last reason is that Ballmer is bluffing. This is just a negotiation tactic to drive up the price. Like, Ballmer's crazy, he really wants to keep Kawhi. Unless you make an offer he can't refuse. So, I want to look at what a realistic trade would look like from both the Raptors and the Spurs. Both teams might want him because Kawhi, at 35, just made second-team All-NBA with his best stats ever. The Ringer has him as a top 10 current NBA player. So first off, Toronto should be all over us. Let's just say that choosing Toronto over Miami is unheard of in life, let alone the NBA. But San Antonio, if Kawhi's taking the last shot instead of De'Aaron Fox, Spurs are champs right now. But what about that nasty divorce? Well, what basically happened is Kawhi got injured and the Spurs didn't believe him. Not only did team doctors clear Kawhi when he disagreed, but his own teammates openly questioned him in the media. Tony Parker basically said, my injury was 100 times worse. Then he forced a trade, immediately won a championship, which Spurs fans still hate. I know tons of Spurs fans who say, no, screw you and your uncle. And respected reporter Matthew Tynan hates the basketball fit.
You're going to be slowing the pace down because Kawhi plays pretty slow. You are going to be taking the ball out of Wemby's hands, Dylan's hands, Steph's hands. You're going to, I don't want to say they're going to it would curb development, but it's certainly not going to put those guys in the go-to every, night in, night out, go-to guy elements of the game that you want them, areas where you want them to grow. But beyond that, why would you want to give up assets to bring a 35-year-old in?
Why? Because of what we just saw. At the end of every finals game, the Spurs had nobody you felt confident would make that big shot. The Knicks had Jalen Brunson, who we all knew was going to score the bucket. Kawhi, on the other hand, clutch as they come. Oh, but what about the young guy's development? What do you think De'Aaron Fox is? Is he not slowing down the growth? At least Kawhi's shots go in. But it is shocking that Kawhi might want to come back. He must feel most of the people that he beefed with are sidelined, like Pop and Manu. Kawhi could then go back, mend fences, and win a championship. It would be a perfect end to his career. Would be the same shock level, though, as Luka returning to the Mavs. I know it's totally different circumstances. Obviously, Mav fans want Luka back, but it would be just as shocking. So what would that trade actually look like? Well, it just so happens that Kawhi and De'Aaron Fox's contracts perfectly line up. So the Spurs get Kawhi and the Clippers get De'Aaron Fox and control of 2 first-round picks, both valuable. The Clips take this for their rebuild, having few picks of their own, and De'Aaron a full 7 years younger than Kawhi. I know he's not the best fit next to Darius Garland, but you could do a lot worse than an all-star Fox. Now, sadly, there are no reports that San Antonio is actually interested in this yet, but the Raptors going hard for LaMelo Ball before his move, and now Jake Fisher says the Raps have registered interest in their old Finals MVP. Toronto is in an interesting position right now. They just made the 5 seed in the East and gave Cleveland a real fight in round 1. Scotty Barnes is officially a franchise player. Good young players like Colin Murray-Boyle. So the players that are on the table for them include RJ Barrett, Emmanuel Quickley, Jakob Poeltl, and Grady Dick. The Raps also control all of their future draft picks. So what about Clippers get RJ Barrett, Jakob Poeltl, and control of 2 firsts for Kawhi Leonard? Would it work? Probably not. Toronto's not like a Kawhi away from a championship right now, but he would re-sign there. Which brings us back to Steve Ballmer, the one man who could make all of this possible. Is he actually serious about keeping Kawhi? It's the opposite of what the Hornets just did with LaMelo Ball. The moment LaMelo had a healthy season, they shipped him out because of his terrible injury history. May never have this value again. Why would Ballmer do the exact opposite when Kawhi is 35 years old? It makes no sense. I think the only explanation is the aspiration punishment. In fact, back in September, when all that drama was going on, ESPN said the organization's focus has shifted. They are done building around Kawhi. And an honest employee said, they know that and he knows it. And suddenly, he's untouchable. No! You have to believe that Adam Silver must have personally told Ballmer, hold on to Kawhi. Keep it on the down low. The good news, though, is that the NBA investigation is coming to an end sometime, and then we'll finally know about Kawhi's future. But speaking of LaMelo Ball, he is a Timberwolf, which is the wildest star duo from a personality standpoint at least. But health was only one reason that the Hornets traded LaMelo. I went over the entire reason because health, just one part of a very complicated story.